On today's episode, we get a little meta. Yes, that's right. We introduce ourselves, talk some shop, pitch the pod, and gear up for our first major topic of discussion. All this and more on the Pitch Pod. Welcome to the Pitch Pod. We are the Pod Squad, and we are here to pitch you on all things nerdy, geeky, dorky, dweeby, and lame. My name is Grant, and here are my fellow hosts. Andrew, how you doing?
Yo.
And then we got Victor.
What's happening?
All right. So this is episode 1 of hopefully, quite a few episodes. But I guess just how's it going, guys? How are we doing?
Doing well. Just got woke. Yeah. Sleepy.
Cool. I watched Palm Springs last night. Are you guys familiar? It's the new Hulu movie that came out.
Is that the Andy Samberg movie?
Yeah. It's actually like a really good film. I just I'm not gonna spoil everything. Essentially, right? And it's in the trailer, but like it's Groundhog Day essentially with its own little tricks and stuff. But there's this one scene where these two people are getting married, right? And they're singing their vows, and like all I could think was like they're not 6 feet away from each other, and they're holding hands. And I am just bugged. Like it's actually pissing me off how like I'll watch a film right now or like anything and just like they're not following CDC guidelines and like what is happening here? You are spreading. And it's just this irrational, I don't even know what it is. I don't know. Like when will movies get back to normal for me? I feel like they're ruined.
That's fair. I mean, the fiance and I were watching The Princess Bride last night. And they had a couple comments about masks, because the Dread Pirate Roberts shows up in a mask for the most of the time. And so initially they're like, people in masks can't be trusted.
Right.
Do you think people who survived, people who lived through Prohibition, when they saw like drinking in movies, they're like, that's bullshit. It's totally unrealistic.
I mean, I think like that's weird. I think that it's one thing for alcohol, because like I don't know my Prohibition history, but like people still drank all the time. But I guess like everyone's we're not gonna talk about CDC guidelines. I'm not gonna, you know what? I'm projecting my frustrations. I'm upset. I'm upset at everything, and I don't like the fact that my movie going experience is tarnished for the foreseeable future.
To your original point, Grant, if the two people being married were 6 feet apart, then they're already starting marriage wrong. So,
well, once again, not to doubly spoil, but like it's probably not going to work out for those two. Just my assumption. I don't really know. So maybe it's a sign of things to come. Maybe that was a input scene metaphor type of thing because they're not following guidelines. Or I'm just looking too much into it. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, I'd say it was probably just because it was made before guidelines existed.
Semantics, yes. That is going to be a fair point, though, is like how many movies do you think are going to like take advantage of this stuff? Like how many COVID jokes are going to happen in 2021 for films?
Quite a few. Kevin Smith has already
2022, my guy. I don't think this COVID stuff is even going to end by 2021, personally.
Kevin Smith's already talking about, like, he's working on the script for the Mallrats sequel, and COVID very possibly will kill all malls before that sequel's out. So it's affecting literally the writing of the screenplay.
Yikes. Well, I mean, like, you said you're talking about, like, Paul Blart?
No, I said H difference. Mallrats. It was one of the early Kevin Smith movies.
Okay. So I guess for those that are listening, Andrew's our resident old guy. And by old guy, I mean the dreaded 3-0. So yeah, we still retain our
3-1.
Well, I mean, I think after 30, like, is there actually another birthday? Like, do you count birthdays after that?
I'm going to be 32 next at the end of the month. Oh, well, I just lost a year of my life, or gained a new year.
Yeah, that love the positivity, love the optimism there.
Okay. But no, it has nothing to do with Paul Blart Mall Cop, although presumably that movie will be affected as well.
I mean, yeah, that'd probably be kind of awkward. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Blart 3 has, like, COVID zombies or
I mean, if you want to
anything
get
along those lines.
down to what will be weird watching, and I mean, it's safe because it's already a period piece, but the next Stranger Things season, after having season 3 prominently featured in the mall.
True. Yeah.
Right, when it comes to the point where people don't, like, remember what malls are anymore, in probably, like, another 10 years or something.
I mean, yeah, malls, Barnes and Nobles, any free, just brick and mortar in general.
Oh, is Barnes and Nobles doing terribly?
Like, I feel like it's become such a niche. Like, I don't mind going to a Barnes and Nobles and just, like, popping a squat and reading something, but I feel like...
Just taking a dump in the middle of the Barnes and Nobles.
Yes.
That's what I heard.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like every single time I go in, it's kind of just like sad. Like, you'll have the coffee people at the Starbucks area just like, you know, reading their magazines or doing whatever. But outside of that, beyond like the one upstart kid that just loves to read, those things are empty. And those buildings are typically pretty big. So I don't know. It just kind of, my personal fears are, yeah, I mean, you know, who knew that a Kindle would be a thing? But, which personally, I can't stand. I can't stand, like, I'm trying to read a book right now on Kindle, and, like, I just can't follow it. Like, I read a line or read, like, half a page, and the page just feels, like, 10 times larger than the average page, even though it's totally not. But I'll go at something for, like, 10-15 minutes and just feel like 2 hours have passed by. And
well, you know, that's actually like a common gripe, is that a lot of people learn better reading from paper books. They retain more reading from a physical book than they do from like online reading. There were actually been a couple of studies that were conducted. I personally don't know if it's because like we grew up used to reading from paper,
right.
Well, from paper. But yeah, there's some justification for that. So you're not entirely crazy. It's a fairly common phenomenon.
That's fair. I don't know. I just like, I look at, that makes sense though, because like I think my little brother, for example, I mean, I don't think that man's ever read a book in his life, but at the same time, he grew up in an era where books were already on the decline. And like, I totally sound like a Gen X person. You know, I definitely like, I feel old by not understanding these new technologies. Whatever. I guess it's something that's, we're all gonna become those people. We'll all be Karens by the time 2050 rolls around. All right. Well, I guess that's enough of our little banter. I guess we can move on to like our headlines. So obviously we might have gotten a little distracted here. If you can't pick up a theme, or you didn't really get into my intro statement, this podcast is about the nerd culture of the world. So we'll do a few segments, and I guess our first segment is our headline. Andrew, what headline this week engaged you?
It's a little bit of older news at this point, but the Plague Nerdalogs became free and public recently, which is pretty cool. If you don't know, the Plague Nerdalogs started in May 2020 as a react to try to raise money for No Kid Hungry, and then a couple months later for Black Lives Matter as a charity. So they figured everything was shut down. All these actors were at home, not able to do anything. So they just Mark Bernardin started contacting various people that he knew in the industry, be like, hey, do you want to read anything you want to as like a 1 to 2 minute monologue from anything you like? So you end up with like, Mark ends up reading from Dune. You get Yvette Nicole Brown reading Lady Oleana Tyrell's Queen's Justice speech. A bunch Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash in the CW shows, reads Chris Evans' Civil War speech at the end where he says goodbye to Iron Man. The one where if you need us, we'll be there. And then you got Will Forte for some reason as Liam Neeson giving the I will find you and I will kill you.
The Taken.
Yeah. So it's got a bunch of genre actors reading various famous line monologues from movies. So that's free now.
Is that that's brand new?
I mean, it started in May. It or so went free. It's got Phil Lamar, who does the voice of Samurai Jack, reading the Inigo Montoya line from The Princess Bride as Samurai Jack. So it's a lot of interesting things throughout. I'll drop the link for it in the Discord. Maybe we can put it in show notes or something. He's also the Martian Manhunter in Justice League. He also was on Mad TV.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
I forgot about Martian Manhunter. Wow,
He also had
cool.
in-person role as a Martian in the Supergirl series, but not as the Manhunter. No, as...
Has anyone actually seen
I have.
Supergirl?
I've seen most of the episodes.
I haven't.
I don't know. Whenever I look at it, like obviously Arrowverse and like all those DC CW shows kind of hit the wayside. But when I ever looked, like straight up looked at Supergirl, I was like, "There's no way."
Oh, it's so good, especially at the beginning. Yeah,
really?
Sounds like a pitch.
I guess you got to add something else to the queue. All right, Victor, what's up?
Yeah, boy. Recently Halo multiplayer was announced to go free to play for Halo Infinite. It's their upcoming game in the series by 343 Industries. And that shit is surprising. Honestly, like I think maybe because Call of Duty experimented with free to play for their free for all, their battle royale, that 343 is trying to compete with that franchise.
Right, and everybody's trying to compete with Fortnite. So
right. I mean, and who knows how extensive the offering will be, right? Because I don't even know if Halo Infinite will have a battle royale. You know what I mean? So it's very possible that they are just like, here's our standard suite of multiplayer games.
Well, they threw in an open world into Halo, so it seems like they're trying to check all the boxes of what do the kids like these days?
We'll see. Personally, I don't think that really makes Halo like I don't think making it more accessible in the sense that they're copying all of these other trends. I don't really think that that's probably in the best interest of the franchise. Because then it's not Halo anymore. It's just another game with a Halo skin on it. You know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily see copying the winning strategies of the decade as really adapting to a new market.
Well, I feel like isn't that just like how markets come and go now? I mean, I feel like we're just all like in a stage of just copycatism where we have a new thing. Cause like, I don't know, I don't get the whole Fortnite thing. Once again, I feel like I'm just this super ancient dude in a 23-year-old body, but like I just never really got the enjoyment out of Fortnite. But I understand because it's a genre, like it's out and created its own thing. That's why it became so popular. Now everyone's just going after it and trying to get a little bit of cash.
But that's kind of my point, right? It's like I played it for a bit and I get it. It's fun, especially with friends. It's a lot more cooperative. And Modern Warfare, wasn't Modern Warfare? Call of Duty's Warzone is really, really good. It's like way better than PUBG. So that's why people are playing it over PUBG. Like, I get that. But what is Halo going to be in comparison to Fortnite, in comparison to PUBG, in comparison to Warzone? Like, it doesn't have that much more to offer. Furthermore, Halo's formula doesn't really work for survival in that sense because when you play in Halo, you have a recharging shield and you don't have health unless they bring that back, like they did for Reach and they did for Halo 1. So you wouldn't. There's really no survival angle unless you're just like looking for ammunition. But is that fun? I don't know. But in any case, I don't think they're having a battle royale mode. I think they're just offering like standard multiplayer, free for everyone. And it's an interesting move because, interest in the Halo franchise is kind of mixed right now after the reception of Halo 5. And, a lot of mechanics have come back, like sprinting, for example. That's not actually like a common staple of Halo games that was introduced back in 4. I believe. Technically Reach, but it became like normal in 4. And that changes map design and flow. And again, it changes the game. But anyway, I think it's a decent move just to regenerate interest in the franchise, but I'm not necessarily sure it'll pay off.
That's fair. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where like it's Halo, right? So like it'll sell like hotcakes. But yeah, I don't know.
I will never play this game because I'm never going to jump into the Xbox environment. But mark my words, they already have the open world, they'll have the battle royal, and somehow I bet they fit a skill tree in just to go for the hat trick of what are the last decade's big things. So that's my prediction for Halo.
I guess for my headline that has just been bothering me. So the Emmys came out, the Emmy nominations came out, I guess a few days ago now. And first off, how many, so Watchmen led the way with 26 nominations. How many nominations, how many categories exist in the Emmys? Because I feel like how many awards can you just give out to have 26? Do you just best prop design in a climactic scene involving the damsel in distress, Emmy nomination?
I did hear about Watchmen. What were they nominated for? What did they win?
Everything. Yeah, I haven't seen Watchmen. I haven't seen a lot of these shows, but I'm just how many nominations can exist? At what point do you just I feel like there should just be best show.
Right, it'd be that would be Westworld winning best sci-fi and best western. You know what I mean? Technically it contains both, right? But it's either one thing or another. You can't have it be both. So for Watchmen to just storm every category, that's interesting too, because I thought it was a serviceable show, but it wasn't the only one.
I think Watchmen was easily the best thing on TV in the last year.
I just my gripes
of things I watched, at least.
My gripes with the award nominations in general, that's just one minor thing that I have absolutely nothing I am not an expert in this or anything ever, so this is just once again my complaining phase. But one thing that continues to bother me, and it's just the Emmys as well as the Oscars as well as essentially anything and everything that has to do with award ceremonies is presented by a bunch of old white dudes who actually know so little of anything post 1975. I looked at the animation, best animation of the year. The Simpsons was nominated for the 29th time, and it's 31 years of syndication. I just The Simpsons died 20 years ago.
Go on.
I don't get. Well, to be able to be nominated for an Emmy, one of the 5 best shows of the year in the medium, and frankly, it's a medium and not a genre. So at that point, it's kind of testing the waters, but I'll sacrifice that point. How, Andrew, I guess I will kind of affront to you, as someone that more so grew up with The Simpsons than us, how is it still around?
Good? No, and that's going when was the last time you watched it?
It's still good. A few months ago, probably. I sat down. Obviously, it's not something that I choose to go and be okay, I'm going to dedicate a conscious effort to watch this for a few hours and gather thoughts on it. It's dumb fun, but it's kind of lost the plot.
It has been a couple years since I've watched The Simpsons, but whenever I watched it, I was still surprised at how culturally relevant it was. It's still doing a lot of the same stuff The Simpsons was doing. It's not 1995 era Simpsons. I absolutely think it's time to honor new things. If you look at CMT's Artist of the Year awards, Garth Brooks was getting nominated again, and some country music fan tweeted at him and was you don't need this again, and Garth went, you're right, I'm not going to campaign, and just try to make space for those younger artists. So at this point, I think The Simpsons should just be doing that with Emmys and awards, but in terms of I don't know what else they were up against in the category. And to your point, do you guys 100% most of the academies and the Oscars and the Grammys and the and Emmys, I don't know about the Grammys, are made up of old white guys because they're primarily the ones who win awards, because in order to be a part of the Academy, you have to have won an award from the Academy. So it is a self-perpetuating and generating thing. But every year, hopefully, we see a little more diversity. If Watchmen wins a bunch of awards, if they win for writing, because they made a point of having a very diverse cast. If the woman who played Angela Abar, I forgot her name right now, give me 1 second. If Regina King wins for playing Sister Knight in Watchmen, then you've added a little bit more diversity into the Academy.
Yeah, but at what point does it, how long are we going to have to wait? Because I feel like that's just, okay, we finally get one person added to the Academy. Is it, I don't know, it just,
And on top of that, you really kind of have to take pandering into account, right? because it's one thing to offer an award to somebody because you legitimately think that their art was definitive. And it's another thing entirely to be like, oh, well, you know, the Latino communities really needs a win right now. Let's make the show of... that was just a random example, by the way. Let's just take a Latino director and say that their series was super, super good, despite the fact that maybe, you know, it might not have been the number one in quality or yada, yada, yada. And again, that's a really subjective thing. Like, there's no what makes a show like, oh, man, award worthy.
This just in, Victor hates Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro. He stole my idea. No, I love Guillermo. Personally, I think Pan's Labyrinth is like probably one of the best movies of the early 2000s.
That's true. I mean,
I don't think that's very controversial.
No, Guillermo's an interesting guy. He's got this little series on Netflix that I eventually would love to kind of do a deep dive on. It's called The Tales of Arcadia, and it's like it is such a expansive project. And for someone that like has his gripes with like how Netflix handles certain things, like they are giving him such free reign to do whatever he wants. For those that like have zero idea what I'm talking about, there are currently 3 different series on Netflix, all animated, all encapsulated into like a obviously like a saga. One's about trolls living underneath the earth. One's about like a space, like I guess these like the king or like prince and princess crash landing to earth, and the other one's about wizards, and that one's about to come out. But like they're all in the same town, like, and they occasionally interact with one another, and I think it's about to culminate into something a little larger. Just the creativity there and like the ability to express, I think like Guillermo del Toro is an absolute master. I mean, you've seen that with like Shape of Water and Pan's Labyrinth and other things. Like his imagination just blows my mind.
I completely agree. I'm really sad we didn't get to see his version of The Hobbit.
Was that a thing?
Oh, yeah. You didn't know?
No idea.
So what happened? Yeah. What happened was that he was originally supposed to do the Hobbit movies, and he was going to do 2 because he's like, yo, that's all there is. There isn't enough to make this a trilogy. And the producers, was it the producers?
Warner
Whatever.
Brothers.
Fox, whoever owns the IP, right? They were just like, no, you need to make this into a trilogy so that it mirrors The Lord of the Rings. And he was like, all right, I'm not doing that. So then they brought in Peter Jackson as like an emergency replacement. And keep in mind that Peter Jackson was already kind of like fatigued with the whole, you know, Lord of the Rings thing because he literally worked on that project for almost a decade. So when they brought him in to do The Hobbit, you know, I'm not saying he phoned it in, but I'm saying I would understand if he was a bit tired of the subject matter.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get tired just watching the thing. I can't imagine what.
Exactly. Yeah, it's ponderous, man. It's some heavy shit to watch. Like if you marathon all those movies, it's heavy. But in any case, that's basically what happened. Was that Guillermo del Toro was supposed to do the 2 Hobbit movies, and he refused to do a trilogy, so they replaced him with Peter Jackson.
Damn, could have been.
Right?
Cool. Moving on to that, I guess we can move on to our sponsor. We are sponsored by nothing. No one.
I was about to be really
no.
for a second. I was like, damn.
Underscooped y'all. Yeah, we are sponsored by Jimmy's
Shave Club
Pizza across the street. Buy one, get one
Shadow
free.
Raid.
Shadow Legends.
Yeah, that one. Oh shit, Shadow Legends.
What was that one commercial that was on YouTube for ages? It was like the Legend of Monster 34 or whatever. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about?
No. Whoa, what is that?
There was like some commercial on YouTube that like would just infest every single channel ever. It's like the Hero 34 or I don't know, man. I feel like YouTube commercials are just so irritating. But maybe that's just
to funnel you
because,
into YouTube Premium.
Because you're just like, oh man, remember when this used to be free and not a hassle?
Right. I know one person that has YouTube Premium. Like I can't imagine.
No,
like Andrew, do you have it?
Common sense.
Yeah, the rest of us have ad block.
Yeah, no, like I mean, I just like obviously like we're in this like era where everything and anything is a package or a premium or a bundle or whatever the hell. But I can't see myself, maybe just because it has been free forever. I can't imagine paying for something. Like what if, just stay with me here. What if YouTube Premium like actually got good movies? Like I don't know if I could actually like
I think Cobra Kai was good, but Cobra Kai's going to Netflix Netflix now.
Like if it started producing content. See, but I don't know. I never actually saw the Cobra Kai show, but like I watched the trailer for it. I'm like, this is just cornball.
Yeah, did you see the Karate Kid?
Okay, fair, but like I feel like that's the charm of an
Right.
80s 90s
This
film.
is about
right?
channeling in the folks who liked the 80s and 90s film.
I think that something that YouTube has failed to deal with is the fact that they think that they can operate. They think that YouTube Premium. I was about to say YouTube.
I think that was a
Red.
different thing.
Is that what it's called? Actually, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the basic assumption that like, oh, if we provide good television and good movies, people will utilize our service more is inherently flawed because people remember that it used to be free.
Yeah.
Right? And that there used to be less ads. So it's different than, say, Netflix, which, comes in originally. They're just like, yeah, we're giving you everybody else's movies. And then they're like, now we're going to develop original content. We're improving on it. You're basically paying the same as you were before. Whereas YouTube is trying to integrate something that just wasn't the case before, like at all.
Of what YouTube Premium is used for now. Like, I've not seen them advertise original content in forever. Now, when YouTube tries to advertise you, it's saying, would you like to listen when your screen is locked? Like, it knows that most people who are going to want YouTube Premium are going to want YouTube Premium because they use YouTube to listen to music or podcasts or Let's Plays or whatever, and they're going to want to listen to it without having to worry about the screen falling asleep and having to restart the whole thing. Like, I think YouTube's just kind of realized their money isn't in premium content, hence why they let Cobra Kai go and Netflix bought it. Their thing is in just making their own app slightly more convenient and making you pay for it.
I don't know. I just
I personally think that that's like also really opportunistic of them just to be like, oh yeah, we could just
being
add an update.
Is this your first day in America?
Yeah, I know it's a bit naive, right? But it just seems overly opportunistic, I guess would be the best term. But again, for me personally, like the thing that interests me about YouTube is the content creators themselves.
Right.
Like what they produce. I don't think it's something that YouTube can necessarily manufacture because they're trying to become more like Netflix. And really what makes YouTube unique as a platform is that it's people creating their own content and using YouTube to disseminate it. And they haven't been treating their content creators very well over the last couple of years. If anything, those adpocalypse that happens have like really scared a lot of people on the platform. And everyone's looking for alternatives, and now they're going to Patreon. Like the landscape of YouTubing has changed immensely over the last, I would say, like 6 years.
Oh, and I mean, shit, even like the past year. I mean, now you're in an era where like everyone is afraid that their video is going to get taken down and that they're going to get copyright strikes and
demonetized.
Like their whole financial situation is just gone from 100 to 0. I know there's that one oh my god, what is it, like the SpongeBob anime episode that came out that like went trending like crazy. I mean, it's absolutely freaking hilarious, right? And then like all of a sudden they said it was violating like the YouTube's rules on kids, even though like it was denoted as not for kids. YouTube just, for whatever their automated system is, just decided to like, okay, nope, here you go, take it off, copyright strike. And he had to go through a whole entire Twitter war, and make something go trending. Hey, bring up my thing. It was insane. And I mean, obviously he got the video back up, thank God. But like that is, in his own words, 6 months of his own time that is just out the window. That all that money goes away. That's
like, it's clear it's parody. It's clear that it's covered under fair use. The fact that his income is being threatened for no valid reason is just, it's terrible.
Right. I mean, and there's that some law that I honestly have it's like COPPA or whatever, the one that talks about like how like if it's denoted for children and it's not for children, you immediately get the video taken down or whatever. But like it just blows my mind that like how much for a platform that is all about expression and the ability to post whatever you want has gone to the most regulated platform outside of cable.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to see, like, because obviously like, I want YouTube to continue, but at what point do people say enough is enough? Or is YouTube just become such a phenomenon, like a titan, a bastion of the industry, that it's going to stay forever? I don't really know. I don't know anything, but whatever. So I guess now we can go ahead and actually talk about why we're here. So obviously we're called the Pitch Pod, you know, that creative, super creative name, the Pitch. We are going to, on a weekly, bi-weekly, monthly basis, you know, well, it probably changes depending upon the time, we'll actually be coming up with a topic of sorts, a brand of sorts, anything in particular that resembles that nerdy, the geeky, the nostalgic, the lame, the anything and everything that we grew up with or are currently growing up with now, and just doing a deep dive, you know, spending our entire outside extracurricular lives on that topic, just obsessing over it and then reporting back. Yeah, I think like this pitch, obviously we're going to be a little quirky here. The pitch this week is just us pitching the Pitch Pod. Why you should listen to us. Andrew, why should they listen to us?
Well, if the YouTube conversation is any indication, it's because we know what we're talking about. But I would say, like, the whole thing with the pitch is that it's modeled after that roller coaster of emotions you get when you go out on the limb to make a recommendation. Like, I'm giving you a little piece of my soul, laying it out and saying, I like this very much, and I hope, I pray that you will like it too. So hopefully we'll get to talk about something that one of us is passionate about whenever we come together, about bi-weekly, I think, to do this part of the show, and suggest what we have given up for everybody. So if I'm trying to sell bowling as the greatest thing under the sun, which I will never do, because first off, it takes place indoors, and some of the players have never seen daylight. But if I was trying to pitch bowling and Victor had never played or watched bowling, I would give him some guidelines on things to watch. We could come back, go over it. Maybe, Grant, you already know everything about bowling, and you see it as an activity for peasants.
Yeah. No, I just watched The Big Lebowski,
yeah,
and now
absolutely. And while I will never try to sell anybody on bowling, I do reserve the right to pitch somebody on bowling movies, like The Big Lebowski. If you guys already hate bowling, then I will probably need a very good pitch to get you to engage with bowling. But that's kind of the structure of the pitch, is just trying to say.
I feel like Andrew just really wanted to talk about bowling there for a second. Big
Yeah.
bowling guy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the point, isn't it?
Right.
Except
Yeah, but I think like
bowling was the substitute for a thing I actually wanted to talk about, because I didn't want to use that as an example, because then it'd be silly if I then wanted to talk about it.
a little sneak peek there. Gotcha. Yeah, and I think like reasons why we're doing this in the first place is just like we obviously all, as like I feel like in our entire generation has something that they've nerded out about, that they obsessed over. And I think like all of us have way different ideas of like of what our passions are and what we enjoy. You know, Victor, Andrew, and I, we all came together from maybe like not, we obviously like we didn't meet each other because of our passions. We just met each other through randomness that is like our fraternity. But like the loves that we have now, and to be able to share that not just with like each other but with y'all is powerful. And also I just need a way to self-express myself because I'm locked in this room for 23 hours a day. So
You could unlock the door, right?
I mean, yeah, no, I could, but like then I would have to like go and talk to like my mom or, you know, so yeah, that's kind of
Say no more.
trying to, you know, just, you know,
I have to interact with my family, and
it's just a lot of steps and a lot of processes, and I like to try to kind of just limit my experiences right now. And you know, obviously, like I want to follow all guidelines and you know be a upstanding individual human being. So I'm standing 6 feet away from everyone. That's my justification.
And I guess I was interested in being part of something like this just because one of the things that I've been really thoughtful over is, especially while we've been in quarantine, is how much time we spend consuming content. And I wanted to figure out a way to be more thoughtful without just devouring every single thing. I wanted to be more thoughtful in what I was putting into my entertainment brain, even if it was
Right.
stupid. How can I think like what somebody put art and time into this. So is there something further to talk about?
Right. No, I think that you make a great point. That's actually kind of like a thought that I have every single day that like I'm slightly terrified. You know, like every Sunday they give you that notification on your phone. It's like, oh yeah, how much screen time have you had this week or whatever, and is it up or down? I'm just like, oh my god, I am watching too many things almost. Let's narrow it down a little bit, because I hate to see that, like, oh yeah, your screen time usage went up 27% this week, and I'm just like, I've wasted
two things. Number one, that's only compared to last week. So if you could be at as much as 100% increase over where you were a month ago. Number two, you can always get that number lower by not watching things on your phone. Yeah.
Yeah, just change the screen.
Right, yeah. Just throw my
Cheat
phone
the
away
system.
and watch everything on the laptop or the TV, and that way I won't get notifications, and I can live my merry life and pretend that everything is fine.
Basically.
All right. Well, I mean, unless Victor, do you have anything?
Not particularly. I mean, myself, I wanted to do the podcast primarily because I'm just a big fan of fun conversation.
All right.
I have no more motive other than that. Like I just like cool shit, and
Victor's here to charm and be
I like
charmed.
talking to people. That's exactly right.
Victor
That is
is
exactly
our
right.
Victor represents our. What are you? I don't even know what you do. He's just he's our comic relief character, and he's just there because.
Wow.
Yeah,
arguably.
You can be there for the physical charm too, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Me, all about the physical.
Well, obviously, I think that this has just been the best pitch for the pitch ever that one could possibly ask for. So, like I mentioned, what we're gonna do every other week, and hopefully, maybe not. It'll be a little more structured, but like we'll actually have a topic for us to review for the following episode, and would really like for you all to participate with us and join the ride as we like enter that realm of new. This next episode, we are going to be going a little adventure on Netflix. The new Pokemon Journeys anime has released on Netflix, and I don't know about y'all, but I need this as an excuse to watch Pokemon. So I'm excited.
Any excuse to watch Pokemon that I can justify. That'll be good.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely not because
Hell
I'm a
yeah,
man-child, but just because like I need to, do this content for our viewers. I am sacrificing my time and energy.
Yeah, I haven't done anything Pokemon related since like Ruby and Sapphire. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching. Yeah, for sure. I'll be the neophyte here.
Yeah, there we go. No, I think like I didn't watch Sun and Moon. I didn't watch X and Y, even though I heard X and Y was like actually serious or something along those lines. But this looks fun, and apparently it's on Netflix. First 12 episodes are released, which is where we're gonna be watching it. Takes place in the Galar region, but kind of not really. It's gonna be all around the world. Apparently they go region to region and kind of just bounce around. Him and his buddy Go.
Yep.
Did I get that right? Go. Go. All right, Go. I guess Pokemon Go watch this week. Okay, nope, not gonna do it. Okay.
We're gonna go on a journey with Pokemon Journeys.
Abort mission.
Man, we're gonna work on the humor side of the pitch pod. Eventually, not really, but yeah. So, I guess brief rundown. That's essentially like what we're going to be doing for this whole week is obsessing over Pokemon Journeys, and then next Sunday we'll be back at you with more content. So thank you all for listening. This was fun. This was obviously an interesting experience for an episode 1, but make sure to follow this podcast, spread the word with us. I mean, like it'd be really fun to do this and expand our audience to as many people as humanly possible. But yeah, follow us on social media. Make sure to spam us with all questions, thoughts, criticisms, hate mail, love mail, free gifts. I mean, I'll take anything. My PayPal will maybe be linked below. Make sure to interact with us by wasting your week watching the new season on Netflix before the next episode. And yeah, ta-ta.